Well, hello guys, this is the Betamax Man. I'm gonna take a look at a VHS machine today. I found it at the local Goodwill for $10. So normally I don't give VHS machines a second look unless they're made in the 1980s or early 90s, and they have to be made in Japan. So it's made in Japan, that means this is going to be a better one, a nicer unit. I don't like those 90s cheap Chinese made pieces of shit. So we've got a piece of shit VHS inferior product. So let's see what happens. We've got it powered on, and if we hit the VCR TV, it says C instead of saying VTR. It just says C, but it's supposed to have on-screen programming, but I'm not seeing any on-screen programming. Because I turned it on and I'm not really getting anything, so I'm just wondering if this thing will even output. If it does work, is it going to output? I don't know. I did take the screws off, so let's lift the top, because I don't want to put a cassette in unless I have the top off, because if I'm testing it for the very first time, and we're going to be doing it. So okay, now this is in a climate controlled thrift store, so I don't have to worry about moisture or condensation being on the video heads themselves. It looks like it does have a nice aluminum chassis. Let's inspect the tape guides and see if they're nice and free, which they seem to be. It looks like that grease is a little bit dry, so we'll have to re-lubricate everything. But okay, I don't see any broken tape guides or anything like that. See if the casting spins freely. Looks like it's got a little bit of wear and tear on the pinch roller there. So this thing may have a lot of use, or it may not. It doesn't look like it has had a whole lot of use, because look how bright the VFD display is. So I don't think this thing has had a whole lot of hours. But let's see. Do I want to get my little test tape? So let's get my little Lion King test tape. We'll see if this... I should have just bought a tape up there at the Goodwill. I should have stuck a tape in there. This is VHS, so the odds of Goodwills having VHS cassettes are pretty high. So they're most certainly, almost all thrift stores are gonna have VHS tapes laying around. So I should have tested it at the Goodwill, but I didn't. Alright, let's get the bottom off. I'm wondering if I'm going to see any belts. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any belts that are broken, so I don't see no belts broke, so... And I'm not familiar with VHS machines, so, you know, can we get it going? I don't know. Okay, I've got the circuit board removed. It appears to me that there is a belt missing. Now, that looks like a very small belt, and I do have a belt that small, but that particular belt is going to be used on a beta machine, not a VHS. But I may put it on here just to get this thing going, but I can't even get the thing to eject. So what I'll do is take this. It's just too bad this circuit board isn't able to be kind of, there we go, kind of tilted on its side so I can kind of get to the into the mechanical workings here. Yeah, the belt is missing. You see down there? See that? I have a new one, so we'll put that in. Well, I got it to load. I put a belt on, and now it's loaded. If we hit play, and it plays. So let's just see if this thing will eject. Now what I did was I did break a piece of plastic off so that I could get the belt down in there and put the belt onto the pulley. So well, let's just see if we've got, let's just see if we've got a picture, because I'm wondering if this thing has a picture. And let's play. There we go. So let's see if it'll eject, because it's got a picture and it's got audio. So let's just see if okay, it ejected. Now I got my tape back. So that's all it was. Just a belt. Just a bad belt. So there is some goo evidence on my finger here, and there was some gooey mess. There was some goo down there, so I cleaned it up a little bit. But anyway, so we now have a Sanyo VHS machine that works. And it plays automatically. And apparently you cannot reset the counter unless you have a remote. Yeah, so this thing works now, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so the head amp there, I had to, that connector is not very good. See, the picture will actually go, you'll lose a picture if the wire gets pulled out or if it loses contact. See? Well, I don't know if I showed it or not, but yeah, there we go. See that? Okay. Yeah, so that's I'm gonna clean that. Get some contact cleaner in there. That should help. Contact cleaner on the connection. This is what I'm gonna do. So, and that should help. That should actually fix that. Okay, so we've got the top circuit board here is put back on. Well, this is the next day after working on this, and this thing is now fully working. I cleaned the connector that's going into the head amp with contact cleaner, and I got good connection, and now it plays beautifully. So I have a movie here, Mulan. This is one of my favorite Disney movies, and so, or animated movies that I own. And it's not rewound, because I think I started watching it, and the good thing about the cool thing about, I just hit the power button accidentally, so I powered it back on. But the good thing about video cassettes is they remember where you left off. Classic. Gotta love it. I can't show very much of it because I don't want to get hit with a copyright, but yeah, we hit stop. As you can see, stops, play. See? Working good. Everything works. So the picture search sometimes you don't really see much. The digital TV just get like little flashes here and there. This digital TV just can't process the video very well. But if it was on an analog TV, you would see the scan lines. Some of the digital TVs I just didn't like. You know, I mean, just the analog TVs were so much better, you know, for, you know, analog stuff. You know, playing an analog device, you know, on a digital TV, well, it doesn't do justice. But I am curious if this thing has the LP speed. I have a remote, a Sanyo remote for a VHS machine, but it only has basic functions. It does not have, I don't know if the remote works. It's got basic functions, and there's pause. And you'll see that the picture search doesn't really show much. Guess it depends on. Yeah, the old, you know, this is the old digital TV. But it does not have, it only has basic functions, and it does not have the record speed. And it's too bad that they didn't have the tape speed on the front of the machine here, but we don't. We do not have tape speed at all. So, you know, we do have, I think these buttons are for, like, if you hit record, and this has something to do with the timer, I think. But I know on some VCRs, you could hit record multiple times, and it would set it for 1 hour. Like, if we hit record and then hit it again, it will do a 30-minute time. So it'll do it for 30 minutes. If we hit it 3 times, it'll do an hour, and so on and so forth. So, you know what I'm trying to say. But, hey, I got a remote. So I can rewind it. Yeah, just basic functions. But I have a remote, and hey, if I wanted to use this machine just to play back some of those old tapes, this would be a nice little machine to do it with. You know, no, it's a mono, and I don't even know if it has HQ. Oh yes, it does have HQ. It's got HQ. So, it has HQ. No, it doesn't have hi-fi stereo, but it is HQ, so it's gonna have a little bit better picture quality than your average run-of-the-mill VHS machine. But the fact that this thing loads, and it does a pretty good job with picture quality is pretty good, and this is be a good little machine to play some of my old tapes, you know. But yeah, if I wanted to watch some movies on VHS, hey, this is the one to do it, right? Yeah, great show. I have a few VHS tapes. I have a small collection of tapes. I don't have a lot because, you know, it's just not something that I have, but I do have a few of the, I have some Gunsmoke, Columbia House Gunsmoke video cassettes, and my dad used to belong to Columbia House Video, and there were a lot of TV shows and stuff that was put on to Beta and VHS. So I do have some Gunsmoke collector's edition. I've got some. Here's a couple of them, the VHS cassettes I have, and hey, I'd like to be able to play them back. Now, of course, I have other VHS machines that are a little bit better than this one, but I just like the fact that it is so small. It's small, it's lightweight, it's compact, it's got HQ, and it's a Sanyo. And you know what? Sanyo's made some machines that weren't bad. And, you know, I know in the beginning of the video I said that this thing was a piece of shit. I mean, hey, it kind of is, right? But it is, but it isn't. You know, it was $10, and hey, you know, I could probably sell this thing for $25. You know, I'm sure somebody would want to buy it for 20, 25 bucks. You know, and it's been, you know, serviced, so, you know, they wouldn't have to worry too much about the reliability of it. You know, it would be pretty reliable. I would like to find out when this was made. So the model number on this is a Sanyo VH, I think it's a VHR 9280. That's the model number. Yeah, VHR 9280. 9280. VHR 9280. So that's the model number of this, and I'm sure that this was probably made probably 91-ish, maybe 93, maybe 92, maybe, I don't know. I would say this is probably no older than 93. I don't think this would have been an 80s model. If it was built in the 80s, I would say probably 89, but I doubt it because of how small it is. See, VCRs in the early 90s, VCRs really kind of shrunk down in size. So, it's a smaller unit, but yet it's made in Japan. So, hey, it's made in Japan. It's still made well. You could see that it did have a metal chassis. And none of this cheap plastic garbage that China had with their machines, because when stuff started to be made in China, the quality went way down. You know, like even with the VHS cassettes, this film came out in the late 90s. I believe it was 98, it might have been 99 when this movie came out, and it's on a really cheaply made, Chinese made cassette that's very thin, lightweight. The plastic is very thin, not a very good quality cassette. But if you look at a cassette from like that was manufactured in the 1980s, the cassette would be a little bit heavier. And just everything in the 80s was built so well. And the 90s was the start of the downfall of VCRs in general. I mean, hey, even the 1993 Sony Betamax VCR, which is smaller, it's lighter, it wasn't made as well as the, like, say, the SLHF 1000 there. So they weren't made as well, you know, but in China. China was just cheap garbage. It was just cheap throwaway stuff. And this was made to, you know, be repaired, you know. And Sanyo had some pretty decent machines. And this one's got some pretty decent picture quality. Basically, I picked it up as just a kind of a project because I really didn't have anything to work on this weekend. And hey, you know, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And hey, don't forget to be kind and rewind, everybody. This is the Betamax Man signing off. Bye-bye.